Hello. I don't know what happened to Travis.
Why did my camera turn off? Why is my camera not on? Hold on, my camera just... Did I kick out the power adapter? Hold on. What the hell, Melvin? Hold on. Let me... Where did I kick out the power? Oh, there's the power. I must have kicked it out.
Travis doing what he does best. Kicking out the power. That's right. This is the Guardcast 2020 edition.
What the hell's going on? Oh, that's plugged in there. And then... what happened? I'm so confused. It literally was working 2 seconds ago. What the hell is going on? Damn it, which cable is it? I have so many cables back here. How is it the thing was working just 2 seconds ago, and now it doesn't work? Wait, hold on. Plugged it in. See if we can power it on. There we go. Okay. Now it's on. And oh! Hey.
Hey now.
Hey now.
Look at this. I totally made it on time.
Exactly. Look at how we have just enough promos to make sure you make it directly, perfectly on time.
I like how I made it in, like, no one, they wouldn't know, but I made it in the promo. I wasn't here. Travis was going live. All of a sudden, I snuck my way in.
It's awesome. Okay. What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah, we had a really great show last week. So I thank everyone again for all the support last week. I know it was kind of rough because I know a lot of people, like, there was a lot of people in the chat, like 600 or maybe more.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And there's a lot of questions and stuff. And I get, like, a lot of people, like, wanting their questions answered. And I really, like, again, wish we could have got to, like, everything. But, we try and keep it like an hour show. And then, like, we went over that hour and then some. So, I do apologize for that, because I did tell people in my YouTube videos, like, we're going to answer your questions. And we did. Yep. But I think people, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, why didn't you answer mine? It's like,
well, the cool thing is, it was so popular. Obviously, when we do the Supercast, they do well, but even the audio downloads were particularly great for this show. Even the last couple of weeks, actually. So,
the views on YouTube and the
audio downloads were spectacular.
Downloads and everything. Like, it was
and Greg, I don't know if you know this. You probably don't. But if you know all the cool things that are going on with GadgetCast, the GadgetCast YouTube channel, are like 4 subscribers away from 3,000, something like that.
I'm aware.
Yeah. So things are going well.
Yeah. No, I was really pumped after last show. Like, it was good. It's a good show.
So we'll have a lot more fun today. We'll do a little aftercast and stuff as well. And just generally enjoy the time with our lovely listeners. Love this.
If you're new to GadgetCast, because I think we had a lot of new listeners that week.
Yeah.
This is the before show. This isn't the podcast yet. We're just kind of getting on talking to you guys first, and then we go into the show. And then I love this because there was people asking questions the entire stream last show, who, when we said we're gonna stick around after the show, and like we lost 100 view, like I still don't get the phenomenon of like, hey, we're gonna end the show, but we're sticking around to answer your questions, and then like 100 people always drop off, and it's like, I could have sworn I saw some people in the chat that weren't there anymore who were asking a ton of questions during the show, and we really couldn't answer them, and then all of a sudden, is it like they want to be on the official GadgetCast, and it's like, I don't want to be on this little after they got going on.
I'm really so confused. It's really the most confusing phenomena, but it's continual. Yeah, it's continual.
Without fail, every time it always happens. And last week in particular, I thought it was really strange, but it's normal, right? That's like always happens.
Yeah, it was really. So we've always kind of seen this dip, but it was so pronounced because it was so many people. I'm like, it's the same thing. I don't understand. It's basically the same show. I don't get it. Anyway, we do have a new sponsor for the show ongoing. StreamYard is going to be our live streaming sponsor moving forward, which is great.
About darn time StreamYard got on with the program, I dare say.
That's right.
I don't want to take credit for StreamYard, but They're one of the easiest ways to do a live stream on YouTube, and we love them.
Yes. So please make sure if you're looking to do any type of streaming, go check out StreamYard. There's a link in the description below that'll get you, started. It's also a referral for us just to let them know that we're kicking their booties. So anyway, all right. We're doing a good thing for them. I mean, not kicking their booties. We're doing good things for them. Okay.
Sending out a tweet. I was like trying to think of like a funny one, and I got it. I said, we are live with a special Mother's Day edition of GadgetCast. Come watch with your mom.
That's a good one. That's like, actually send it to Luke because his parents apparently like us. So I saw this. Now here's the thing. Magic Spoon does sponsor a lot of podcasts, but here's my problem. I actually did order Magic Spoon cereal based off of a podcast sponsorship, and I hated it. I thought it was not good. So unless they offer us a buttload of money, I legitimately the thing is, like, I'm not going to sponsor something that I don't believe in. And I do not believe in that cereal. I didn't think it was any good. So
what's wrong with the traditional cereals? If Tony the Tiger wants to hit me up, we can do a sponsorship. Yeah.
Well, at least I know that tastes good. I understand the point of Magic Spoon is to be less calories,
right? Like Magic Spoon is supposed to like I know the podcast you're referring to where they reference this
there's a couple now.
Well, there's a podcast that shall not be named that had this sponsor. Oh. And they were going through the ad read and they were like listing like protein and fiber, and I'm like, that's not in my Cocoa Pebbles.
No, it's also not something that I really care for in my cereal. All right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get the show started so we can talk about this on the show too. Wow. Oh, jeez. Nathan just hit my leg. I was not expecting to scare the crap out of me. Okay. Let's get ready to go ahead and record this. Latest Gadget Cast starting off in 3, 2, 1, record.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.
Hello, world. Hello, mothers. Welcome to the Gadget Cast. My name is Gregory McFadden, joined always with my co-host Travis MCP.
Space traveling everywhere. You still need to put the iJustine thing in there.
Yeah, we do have to do that. I do have to make the intro shorter because I did notice in our podcast analytics, like retention on podcasts are amazing. If you come from the world of YouTube and you look at like retention stats, that's how long people like stay and watch the show. On YouTube, like retention, like, hey, if you get 50% on YouTube, that's actually considered good. If people watch half the video, if you get like 60%, you're doing great. Podcasts, man, like I think GadgetCast has like upwards of at least like 80% of the people. Whoa. The entire like it's really great the retention on GadgetCast is amazing. It is crazy how long people will listen to our show. It's a great show. I probably shouldn't be surprised, but it is crazy, like the attention span of the podcast listener versus the average YouTube listener. I guess like when you go to a podcast, you're just in that mindset of like, you know what, I'm going to be listening to this thing for a while. Whereas YouTube, I guess it's more kind of like Wild West. Like, what am I going to watch today? Did I want to watch this video? No. Okay, I'll just skip it. But yeah, it's crazy how good the retention is on the podcast. But I did notice in the intro, people skipping ahead of the intro. It's a good intro. I like it. I think a lot of people like space travel. But I do think I need to remaster it to be just a little bit shorter. Or maybe for the live show, I can keep it long because it's a nice build up. Maybe I should, for the audio listeners, maybe I should take it down. Special? Let us know. Should we like edit the space travel? I know I got to throw Justine in there.
Yes, 100%. You need to remix Justine. I'm trying to figure, I'm looking at some of our analytics. I don't see the retention. I remember there used to be a retention. Is it per show? Is that how you look at it?
Yeah, per show. Show.
Well, I'm guessing that the last show was really good, if I had to guess.
Look at this. Jay Heighton says it's the best intro song. It always makes them dance, chair dance.
Yes, indeed.
So,
yes, indeed.
We got it going, guys. We got it going.
We got it.
Yeah.
All right. So we got lots of stuff to talk about, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, I don't even know what we're talking about today because no. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk a bit about the MacBook Air rumors, the M2 MacBook Air. Travis just made a video on like responding to another video about like tech YouTubers and like this whole like controversial thing. We're going to talk about that. And I do want to talk to Travis about the iPad Pro M1. I think he's going to be mad at me. I think we'll probably save that for like the end of the show. I think, I want that discussion to be at the end. I think I might get yelled at by Travis here. I do want to say right at the front of the show, again, we said it in the pre-show. Thanks again for everyone who joined us on the Supercast last week, where we had Gary, the Everyday Dad, Renee Ritchie, Luke Miani. Just want to say thank you again. That was a great show, a huge success. We definitely plan to do another one in the future. And we're planning to have some other guests on soon. I think maybe by next show, if everything works out well, we should have 2 highly requested guests. I don't want to say just yet, just in case they can't come, but we should have 2 guests that I noticed in a lot of the last live stream. A lot of people were like, where are these 2 people? How come they weren't invited on the stream? And I always thought that was fun. I saw so many names like, how come this person wasn't also here? And it's like, we just booked like 3 of like the best like people who cover Apple as far as I'm concerned, like top tier like people. And I love how the people are like, how come these other people weren't also on the stream too? Like, can you imagine a show where we even had one more guest? Like it would have. Oh my gosh,
it was too much. I mean, as it was, we were bursting at the seams.
It's always hard doing those shows. And I think we actually pulled it off well both times we've done it. But it is always hard because you want to have a balance, right? Yeah. You want to get Gary's opinion. You want to get Renee's. You want to get Luke's. You want to get everyone's opinion equal. And it's hard too, because I love those guys so much. I can talk to them all day long. I'm sure Travis can too. And it's almost like you have to censor yourself sometimes because people want to hear their opinions and you got like an hour of this show. So as much as you want to like get in there and talk too, I almost have to like be like, all right, take it back a bit, Greg. Let these guys talk too. We want to make sure they get their thoughts across, but it's really hard because I could be in a show I could be in a show with those guys for like 4 hours and it would feel like 10 minutes.
Yeah, 100%. It went really fast. I mean, it really did. And people, like I said, when we look at the downloads and stuff, especially for the audio podcast, there's kind of this number that we look at a certain couple days after the download, and it hit it like in the first day, and it's like, whoa, okay, everyone is interested. So super happy. Yeah, we'll concentrate on maybe less guests at a time so we can get deeper in if we can. But yeah, those supercasts will happen again. They're just so much fun.
There's definitely times where you want to like just pick someone's brain for like a whole hour, and those are always great. The multiple guests are way harder to do, but for shows like that where like you have like these topics where like there's a lot of discussion out there with the new M1 stuff, and I think it was a valuable show. I think based on all the feedback we got, people loved it.
Yes,
so we'll definitely do it again one day.
I just realized, is this the first show we've done since I hit 100,000?
Yes.
Because I want to show something. Go ahead and vamp while I go get this thing. Hold on.
Well, I'll just say that Travis finally hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube this last week. He just celebrated. Travis, I mean, I'm sure like everyone who watches GadgetCast also goes to like Travis's live stream. But Travis does like a live stream every Saturday that you should definitely check out if you aren't already. And he's got something. To tell you.
Now, this is going to be for obviously the people watching live stream. I know sometimes we catch heat for this, but I want you to go to youtube.com/GadgetCast so you can see this.
Show notes. I'm going to include like a picture.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So I got, as a kind of a joke, a wrestling championship belt for myself, just as something to, because I don't know when I'm going to get my silver play button. I really don't. But one of the things I did is on each thing is something about me, like the Run MCP, what a play is every right after this. And one of the plaques on the side, of course, because it's very important to me, is the GadgetCast logo. So I just wanted people to know that as part of my journey, I really consider this to be a very important part of my journey, which is why it's on this belt, and lots of fun, and definitely something that I'm proud to to be a part of with Greg, and thank him for coming along for the ride and helping me not lose my mind completely, which I almost did multiple times.
It's true. I saw it firsthand. I mean, Travis, little psychotic at times.
And I don't know, a lot of people. I actually have like smaller belts too. I don't know if I've shown these before, but I actually have smaller belts too. So it's a desktop size belt.
Those belts look so puny compared to the other one.
To the real one, yeah.
If you held that other one up first, I'm like, oh, a belt. Like you hold the other one up, and it's like, whoa, that is a belt, man.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. But anyway, so let's move on. Let's talk about I can talk more about the 100,000, but you can just listen. I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad that's over. It was like the Damocles sword being held over my head. It felt like, can we just get past this and move on? So let's move on. What are we going to talk about first, Greg?
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this M2 MacBook Air first. We'll pepper it out. We'll do the MacBook Air, then we'll talk about your video, and then we'll end with the iPad Pro.
Okay.
Space for everyone. So I don't know if you've been following the rumor mill. I don't know if you watched my video. I think I saw renders by Ian in the chat, if I'm not mistaken. This guy, I mean, I think he's like 17 years old, and he does like these renders, Travis. They look like they came off like the Apple website. Like this guy is so I see him. He's right there. He just finished the MacBook Air renders. He let me use them in his video and stuff, in my video and stuff like that. And it's like, man, so talented. Like, whoa, like really good stuff. But there was a lot of talk about the second MacBook Air, especially now that Front Page Tech just did a video, kind of going along with other. There's I technically did my video first, which is funny, talking about this redesign. And then like the next day after, Front Page Tech came out with the thing, basically kind of like confirming this speculation, right? You look at the new M1 iMac and you see it come in all these new colors, and you kind of see like the design direction Apple went there. And, the logical step would be to bring that design more to the other products. So with this M2 MacBook Air, people are expecting it to come in like these colors now. That's what John Prosser is saying. He's saying, expect colors. Maybe the bezels will look white. Who knows? I don't know if they'll go with that. We'll see, but it could be. I mean, like people seem to be all up in arms about that. I think it's such like a minor thing to me, but there was some other reporting from Gurman that I looked at when I was doing my video that was earlier before people were really talking about it. But he says it's going to be thinner and lighter, which is always nice. He says they're going to shrink the bezels, but they're not going to make a bigger screen. They're more focused on keeping that product as small as they can, which I think is the right move. I say like, let the pros have a big screen, try and make that as small as possible. I think that's the right move. And then the M2 chip, right? A lot of talk about what's next after the M1 chip. I think a lot of people were surprised when the iMac came out that it had the M1. We actually talked, again, not to plug that show again, but we talked about that in the Supercast. And I think Luke brought up a lot of good points of like, I think that's the limit of the M1. Like you can't come out with like the 16-inch MacBook Pro and have an M1 and expect people to be happy. They're going to want a little bit more. But for this next MacBook Air, we're actually expecting an M2 chip. And there's kind of like a discussion, like what's the difference between M1X and M2? Like is M2 better than M1X? And I think the way to think about it is look at iPhone and iPads, like how they used to do the processor jump. So you'd always have like A12, then the iPad Pro would have A12X. But like the A12X would be better at a lot of different things, multi-core performance and graphics performance. And then like the next chip would be like better in single core, but the X version of that chip would still be like more performant over what you would get on the next number. So I think that would probably be the logical thing to expect with MacBooks. Again, this is all speculation. No one really knows about it. But there was just a lot of talk this week about an M2 MacBook Air. Travis, this is, the M1 MacBook Air was your first MacBook, and you've talked about it a lot. You had like a pretty good experience with it. What would you like to see out of like a complete revision of this product? Because this MacBook Air that we got, it had the M1 chip, but like it was using an older design. All they really did do is change the chip, and that was enough to make it like a really great product. But like now that Apple knows what they're making here, like how would you like to see them shape this product?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, check your text message, as it looks like we're going to have something to react to here live on the air shortly. So for me, like, I like my MacBook Air, but as soon as I saw that there were colors, I'm like, okay, now how much money can I get for my MacBook Air? Because I want that blue MacBook Air. Like, colors gets me every time. And to be honest, that alone is enough for me. Like, I just keep the rest. Just give me a new color. Oh, wait, here it is. Oh, we just were sent pictures of what the new Air will apparently look like. And I would like this, please. I would like this right now. We also want to check.
We can't show this. We can't show this.
We can't show it, but I would just say that some of the renders you've seen.
This is great for audio listeners because we literally can't show our live viewers. But
here's the thing. Renders by Ian has done some renders. This looks very similar to that, wouldn't you say? The color's a little different, though.
It's a little different. There's some features that look quite different. We can't give too much away. So I don't know how much I should say. But I would say that Renders by Ian had a great concept that, like, if you're thinking next generation MacBook Air, you're pretty close in line with what we're looking at here. But there are some differences I'm seeing. So I'll save that for Prosser.
Prosser will obviously talk about this.
We should probably explain a little bit better. John Prosser of Front Page Tech just sent us some text images of what he's saying are going to be renders for the next MacBook Air. This is like he probably got some schematics that he could get a render for. And these apparently are what the next M2 MacBook Air is going to look like. I imagine that's going to be on a Front Page Tech episode coming very soon. So stay tuned for that. But these look really nice. I think if this is what we end up getting, people are really happy.
I don't want to make a big deal about this, but this last one he just sent, I don't know if that's a render or a real picture.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason I say that is because renders we're looking at keys, don't have what would seem to be actual usage.
So again, Renders by Ian is in the chat. He says they're hit. This is a between him and Prosper. So these are renders. Again, I said at the beginning, Renders by Ian, so talented, right? Like, these look like they came off the Apple website, and that's why you're like, is this a picture? Is this a render? No,
they look good. They look good.
Renders, and they look so good.
I like that color blue. I think it's great. Okay. Well, that's not a render. Okay, all right, cool. Okay. Well, that one was not a render. All right. Well, look, thank you for joining us today. No, just kidding. Yeah, listen, John does this every once in a while, and yeah, I mean, what can I say?
All right, we have a lot of new listeners since GadgetCast started. I always try and do the history of this.
Yeah.
When we first started doing GadgetCast, one of the first people we let listen to our test show was actually John Prosser. We're like, what do you think about this? Do you think the dynamic here is good? And John said he loved the show. And then originally when we did GadgetCast, I think we just recorded it at first. We didn't do a live show, but we very quickly wanted to move over to a live show. I don't know if you remember that. We'd started audio first, then we moved over to a live show. And like when our first couple of live shows, John was just in the chat always. And he was like, that's when he first started getting into Apple leaks and stuff like that. And he would just be like, do you guys want to see this? Do you want to see that? And we just get a bunch of text messages of this stuff, and we'd react to it live on GadgetCast.
Yeah, and but now he's doing it to us in the middle of a show, which we were not expecting. He just randomly texted us.
Yeah.
So I will say this. Just look at the renders and watch the upcoming inevitable Front Page Tech. It's beautiful. And I want it. I would buy one, even though I have one. I literally have an M1 MacBook Air that I don't need to upgrade. I want one that looks like this, which is literally and he just posted something he tweeted a picture of the color on Twitter just a minute ago or so. So for those of you listening to audio, there's a mintish green that looks kind of, what's the color? Isn't that the same color as one of the other Apple products that it's the Air?
The front of the iMac, right?
Well, no.
And the iPhone 11 had a mint.
No. I'm talking the Air. Didn't the Air have the iPad Air?
Yeah, it had a green too. Yes.
Yeah, it looks kind of like that color, except for a MacBook Air. And listen, as we've talked about, and as I kind of pointed out, the Air is like for consumers. It totally makes sense. It's like it should literally be the fun colors that someone who is not a crazy fan, like they just want something that looks cool. And I like the way they look.
So you agree with, like, that's what you agree with this direction that Apple's going, like making these. You had this great comment when you were on last time, and you were saying, like, what is the iMac? Is that a consumer product or a pro product? Like, you were like genuinely curious, like, what is this? I always thought it was a consumer product, but Greg, you know, a lot of people talk about it like it's a pro product, so I expected it to look more like a consumer product. And it's funny because I was doing this video and I put that consumer grid in there. I said, this is a chance for Apple to get back to that simple Mac approach where they have a consumer lineup and a pro lineup. And that's what John Prosser said they were also trying to get back to, consumer level and pro level. And they can make the pros look like they do now, right? Like they can make it look like a variation of that. But they have a good chance here to really separate this lineup, because I think in like the past couple of years, every product looked like a pro product. Like you really couldn't tell the difference, right? Like you look at like the entry-level MacBook Pro, that's technically a consumer product, but it looked exactly like the pro products, right? And they even called it pro. If you look at the MacBook Air and you put a MacBook Pro on the same table, they look so similar. Like at first glance, you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference between those two products. So I think this is like really smart. And I like it too, because it's giving consumers more of a choice to personalize their laptops. And from Apple, again, it's not like you're buying a Windows PC. There's really not a lot of choice there, right? They only make a couple products, but at least them introducing these multiple colors and stuff, I think it makes a more personal product for consumers. Like it sounds like kind of silly, but it's like if you find like a blue color you like, and then you selected that blue, it's like, ooh, this is my MacBook now. This is mine. And I think it adds like an extra bit to it.
And it makes it something I want. Someone in the chat's asking, if it still had the M1, would you still get it? I probably would, which is dumb. But I probably would. I would trade out mine and try to get it. Now, I don't suspect that's what's going to happen, so I don't think I'm going to have to worry about that. But I dumbly would, and I would never suggest anyone else do that. What I think we're going to see is some type of, I hope, some type of processor bump, whether it's M2 or M1X or whatever they're calling it. If there are two different processors, or I don't even know, but I suspect that we've seen some of the last M1 processor products. Obviously we're going to see the iPad here soon, but I don't suspect we're going to see too many more. What else would be a entry level M1 product that hasn't been released yet? What could that even be?
Nothing left, right? Like I don't think any other product they could release that they could put the M1 in again.
The Mini.
Mac Mini.
Go ahead.
Mac Mini, iMac, MacBook Air, and then like that consumer level MacBook Pro. It's not even like a real MacBook Pro. And the iPads now. iPads have M1, iPad Pro. So there's nothing really else Apple could do here. Renee's right in the chat. He's saying M1X would be too big and too hot for the Air. So I don't think we're expecting M1X for the Air, but I think we'd see like a future revision of the M2. I don't know how much more powerful an M2 would be. Here, Renee's got all. See, look, M2 would be similar to M1, but with 20% better single core performance than usual, architectural improvements, but still ultra low power, which is basically what I said at the start of the show, right? You're going to have the M1X. It's going to be faster in multi-core. It's going to have better graphics, but the M2 might have a slight edge in single core performance. But I think the big thing with M2 isn't power at this point. I think what I would like to see out of an M2 chip, like if Apple released an M1 chip, like an M1 Plus, and it fixed the issue of only being able to hook up one display, so you could have like two external displays, I think that would be like enough for me to be happy with it, right? I think the M2 would be a chance to address some shortcomings with the M1. Maybe even higher memory configurations or higher storage tiers too, right? The current MacBook Air can max out at 2 terabytes. Maybe with an M2, you can get a 4 terabyte MacBook Air. Usually consumer level MacBook Air would only go up to 16 gigabytes of memory anyway, but maybe future M2 products could do 32 gigabytes of memory. So I think that's what the M2 really needs to fix. I'm sure it'll be faster too in single core performance, like Renee is saying. But I think that's what the M2 needs to fix. Some of these kind of like first generation problems that aren't really big deals, because how many MacBook Air owners are like plugging into like a 3 monitor setup? Probably not many, if any. Right. But I still think it's something they should fix, because there are consumers that do that.
And then we'll see, hopefully, like the big monster mamma jamma for all the people who've been waiting for like iMac Pros and stuff like that, like people who really want the big daddy version of the the second gen, hopefully. But at the end of the day, like what I'm seeing here, just from an aesthetic standpoint, and like I said, keep an eye on Front Page Tech. I'm sure these renders, what we're looking at, are going to be on a future episode. Maybe even by the time you listen to this show. It looks nice, and it's in a lot of ways what I wish the first M1 MacBook Air looked like in the first place. Like, if they did it with the iMacs, I'm kind of confused why they didn't time this, because what's the current rumor on when these would come out? Not for a while, yeah?
Yeah, so again, there's not much, maybe John could fill us in on a timetable here, but the only thing I really read was from Gurman, who said maybe the second half of this year or 2022. I always feel like when it's an Apple product and they say or next year, it's usually next year, right? And we know like there's a lot of like chip shortages and stuff like that. So I would probably say like early 2022, right? Like we got these new iPads kind of this time this year. I would expect that for this next MacBook Air.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I think at the end of the day, I like the look. So they said, Renee saying industrial design team has only has so much bandwidth for redesigns every year. But the thing is, it feels weird, because here's the thing. They came out with that color scheme for the iPad Air, and then they skipped it for the MacBook Air. But then they went the iMacs have that same color, kind of pastelish, kind of nice color scheme. So weirdly, it was there was an opportunity there that was kind of missed. But I guess I mean I understand what Renee's saying, and with COVID, probably even more so of a hard thing to do. But man, wouldn't that have been cool if they just slammed them all together back to back to back?
Yeah, it's definitely like a resource thing, like Renee's saying. You also have to remember, like, the MacBook Air is like kind of like a bigger product for them. So you would almost expect the redesign to come with the MacBook Air. But like the iMac wasn't redesigned since 2012. So I think that was just like, that was put up the list, right? Like they've been probably planning some sort of iMac redesign for so long at this point. So I think the MacBook Air was what they had to do. And they did just release the M1 MacBook Air is 6 months old at this point. So it's still not even a year old. I think there was some sort of strategy to releasing these first gen products and making them look exactly the same as the Intel versions, because it's so clear cut, right? Like when you see the MacBook Air look at the same exact way as the Intel version, and they just took out the fan, and it's like, yeah, our performance is this much better. I feel like that's such a bigger statement than it's like, oh, we redesigned it and our performance is this much better.
Yeah, it looks like we just gave Renee an idea for a video, as if he doesn't make 27 videos every week anyway. But apparently this conversation has made him think about that. So I fully expect Renee to be wearing my merch in that video and shouting out GadgetCast. All in the same video, Renee, please. Thank you. That would be wonderful. We would love you for that.
Yeah, Renee, you need to be like, I got this awesome idea on GadgetCast.
Yes, you should see the guys. There's a link in the description below. We would love that. We would love you so much for that. Right? Plus, you can say, I was just recently on GadgetCast, and it's a great show. And we love Travis, and Greg's okay. That's all you got to say. Literally, that's all you got to say, Renee. I love you, baby. I love you. All right, anyway. So I'm excited by what I'm seeing. I guess just wait until you see what we see.
This ended up being a very different discussion than I had planned, because mid discussion we got like legitimate confirmation, or as close to confirmation as you get with a rumor and stuff like that. But this looks pretty compelling, if you ask me, from someone who looks at this stuff. So this design and stuff I think is going to be really good. I like the direction Apple's going in with it seems like they're separating their consumer and pro level products. I think they're doing a good job of it, where in years past, it just kind of melded together. It's more, they just started doing this with the iPhones, right? Like the iPhone and the Pro series. The regular iPhones are more colorful. The Pro series are kind of a little bit more muted in that. So I think that's the direction they'll probably end up going with, I guess, like their entire lineup at this point. You saw it with the iPads too, right? They just came out with new iPad Pros. They're not in the same colors as the iPad Air, which I actually kind of don't like. I kind of wish I could get a blue iPad Pro, but that seems to be the direction Apple is going in with their consumer and pro level products. I like it. I really like it. I think more colorful products is a good thing, because Travis and I would almost spend $400 getting customized colorway products.
I mean,
I'm good.
we didn't even want to talk about that. We almost, we came so close, but Apple did it for us. All right.
If they do a purple MacBook Air,
yeah.
I shouldn't say this because you're gonna have to be, like I said, these can come out in 2022. If they do a purple MacBook Air, we might have to do a Gadget Cast MacBook Air giveaway.
I would do it. I'd be a part of it, because here's the thing. We talked about jokingly getting a GadgetCast iPhone. We never thought there would be such a color, and now it exists. So, you never know. Everything's on board. Obviously, Tim Apple loves the show, and he's kind of shouting us out without shouting us out. He's like, listen, guys, you guys are the best tech podcast. We're going to do a purple iPhone. We've never done that before, but we're just going to do it. We want you to know. This is my wink, wink, nudge, nudge to you. We love you. Like, okay, Tim Apple.
People like that. People would love that, right? Oh, look at that. I want a free MacBook. See, they want it. They would want purple. See, like, I feel like I'd have to intercept it first and throw like a GadgetCast sticker on.
Well, of course we would. We would do that.
Yeah.
And of course.
We'd make you sign a contract that you cannot take that GadgetCast sticker off. And if it ever does come off, you have to contact us and pay us $300 so we can custom replace it for you. You got to send it back.
Makes sense.
We can't trust it to you. You might misalign it. We can't have that. We can't have that with our brand. It could look really bad. So no.
All right. So MacBook Air M2, as we get more information about it, we'll be sharing it with definitely.
All I'm going to say, stay tuned for Front Page Tech. I don't think you're going to want to miss that one.
Yeah. Just what we saw, I'm sure you're all going to see. So wow is all I can say. Okay. Next up, the iPad Pro M1.
What are we talking last?
Oh, save that for last? Okay, so my video. All right. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, because this is an interesting one, because things happened after I released the video that made it even more kind of interesting. So if you have not been watching my channel, first of all, how dare you? But if you have, then you may have seen that I released a video yesterday talking about the problem with tech YouTubers. Now, I didn't really give Greg any kind of heads up about this particular video. I don't even think I hinted at. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll tell him like what type of things I'm going to be doing. I didn't tell him. So I'd be interested in what you initially thought when you first clicked into it, and then what you thought when you were done with it. I'm really interested in that.
Sure. You want me to tell you now?
Yeah.
So I thought you were working on something. I actually was like really surprised when the video came out, because I remember I was on your live stream beforehand, and you were talking to like Renee, and like, Renee, you're in the thumbnail. And I'm like, oh, so Renee's in the thumbnail. Like, what is this thing? I don't know what's going on. Is Travis going to be talking about like tech YouTubers? And then I watched the video, and the video you were reacting to like got me like kind of like upset. Like I was like watching it, like listening to this guy talk about what we do for a living, and it was like making me like really upset. Now, like you, right, you were just dissecting this whole video, and sometimes you'd like agree with a point, and I would be like, yeah, like our society is a little bit too consumerist sometimes. I get that. And I think like with even like tech reviews, hey, I'm the first person to tell you in a tech review, especially now, if you have an iPhone that's 2-3 years old, I don't think you need to go out and buy this new phone. It's not a big enough improvement. I think I've been saying that for at least the last 2 phone reviews I do. My recommendation, if you have an older model, hey, you can wait this year. I always say that in my videos. So I was really upset that he took all these tech YouTubers, put us into one little pot, and said, we just promote buying things over and over again. And I just couldn't agree with it. I'm sure there's some people like that because, you know, there's always going to be at least one person who does something, right? But I think my job is to inform people. I also want to make it fun, entertain. I love tech, like Travis said in the video. I get excited when I open a new product, so that's just general excitement. I'm not trying to sell a product. I just get excited over the new features because I've always been into tech. It's my hobby. It's like if you're into cars and you see a nice car, you're going to get excited. It doesn't necessarily mean you want someone to go out and buy that model of car. If you go out and watch, you know, a Marvel movie and you get super excited, it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, everyone should go watch the same movie that I saw. But if you found someone who watched it too, you might want to talk to them about it. So I just think it's an interest thing. They are expensive products. And, you know, I think there's worse things you could waste your money on, honestly, that like a lot of people get involved with. So I don't even think tech's like the worst part of it. But I do think like overall, you know, like consumerism and stuff like that, you don't always have to have the latest and greatest. It's a pitfall a lot of people do fall into. Actually, I think doing tech reviews kind of helped me get out of that in a way. I know I still get like the latest and greatest because I review it, but it almost makes me appreciate holding on to products longer because now it's more like, hey man, if you can get value out of this, that's really good.
Yeah. So for context, for those who don't know, there's this guy called Tech Lead on YouTube who has a couple channels. He has one with like 1 million subscribers and one with 100,000. And this particular video, he talked about tech YouTubers and how we were promoting consumerism and had some things to say that I wasn't particularly happy about. So if you want to see my thoughts on it, go check it out on my channel. Now, here's what was interesting about that. Shortly after it went live, my good buddy Jeff from El Jefe Reviews texted me and said, "Oh yeah, I actually met that guy." I'm not going to speak for him on how that went, how that meeting went, but he did mention something else which I was not aware of, which is that this guy has actually copyright striked other channels talking about him. So immediately I'm like, oh, did he? So he sent me a link to a video from a creator who covered this guy and another guy not only copyright striking a channel who, by the way, apparently this video didn't even have any footage of his, but that like he doxed him and gave it to another guy who blackmailed the creator. Like, I mean, just really crazy stuff. Now, what was interesting is during me looking at this going, what is going on? I was getting comments from people, and someone even said it in here in in our comments here, that he's actually someone who's supposed to be trying to be funny. He has like deadpan humor and that he's really funny or something. I don't, first of all, that there's nothing about that video that made it seem like he was trying to be funny. Like he seemed like he was legitimately, there's no deadpan humor about it. So I don't think if he does that, that wasn't a video he was doing it on. Other people said that if you watch some of his other videos, he's very, like he's got this kind of sarcastic sense of humor, which I'm all about. That's fine. That's cool. But the fact that he was copyright stricken and doxing people is not a joke in any way. So that kind of concerned me a little bit. So I reached out to YouTuber Ian Corzine, who is a lawyer for social media. He also has a YouTube channel. Definitely check him out. Ian is an amazing guy. I never really talked to him before. I'm aware of him, but I've never really talked to him until just recently. He helped me. I actually made a couple of edits in the video that's up now. I only took away some. So one of the things he said for fail use to really kind of kick through is to not use as much of their content. And there were a couple of conversations that I let him just roll on because I wanted more context, but what I edited out does not in any way significantly change the material of what happened, right? Because obviously I can't remove that video. So it's the same stuff. I just took out maybe like 45 seconds of a couple different things that didn't really make any difference, right? But with that being said, I have been sitting on the last day and a half going, I wonder if he's going to try to copyright strike me. He has not so far, thank goodness. But now I'm starting to think he won't because everyone's talking about that he's like this comedian and I don't know. At the end of the day, it's a very strange thing because if you watch the video, I'm actually not tearing him down, and there were things I agreed with him on. So I'm thinking if anyone who has any kind of rational thought behind them would realize I'm not trashing him, which the videos that he did copyright strike and eventually released a copyright strike on were trashing him. I was not doing that. I literally was taking something that he talked about and was making a very strong opinion on. At one point, saying that tech YouTubers were brought up in a way that we think that consumerism is okay and that we should promote. It was just really weird. and just said, listen, that's not really true. It's certainly not for all of us. And that's it. That's the end of the conversation. Now, for me, I agree with several of the things he said because I have videos about it. Number one, the fact that you don't need to upgrade every year. I'm doing videos on older content, older phones and stuff all the time. Like my Renewed series is all older stuff. And then secondarily, like the consumerism thing, I totally agree with. You can live less with less stuff. I could too. I don't choose to, but I could. But at the same point, he was saying things like, he was like, well, you know, YouTubers are telling people and making people buy these things. First of all, we can't make anyone buy anything. And then secondarily, it's like, we're promoting this kind of terrible way of living and we're pushing our agenda on people. Yet that's kind of what he was doing in this video. It's like, you need to live simpler. There was stuff that I didn't put into the video that if you watch that entire video of his, it's kind of more to that point. So I'm like, listen, I don't agree with that. So I didn't want to, you know, like slam him. I wasn't trying to slam him. Matter of fact, in the video, I say, go ahead and subscribe to him. But for me, I just didn't agree with his assessment of tech YouTubers. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. Some of the arguments he made, and I saw some of this in the chat and stuff. People were bringing up, like he was talking about, like, oh, people don't get excited about buying a washing machine or a toaster or something like that. And like, yeah, it's true. Like, I don't get as excited for like buying a washing machine or a toaster. Honestly, though, I think for me, I actually do get a little bit excited when I get something new like that. Like,
wait a minute, Greg. We did get excited about those vacuum cleaners. So let's be honest.
I get like a phone is a more exciting purchase, or a computer is a more exciting purchase because you use it a lot more and it's like always on you. But honestly, like when I buy appliances, I do tons of research and I get excited, man. Like I got like an air fryer recently and I did so much research. And when I got it, I was so excited. I'm like, ooh, look at this. Let's test it out. Yeah, look how cool this is.
I love air fryers, baby.
So I get an espresso machine. I did a lot of research. I love it. Like I get excited for it. Yeah, so he kept talking about red cameras, which I thought was the strange. Yeah. These YouTubers get a red camera and they think this and that. And like, it was really insulting in a way because a lot of the people who are doing this with like a red camera or who are on like a higher level, like a Jonathan Morrison type, like these people are kind of like true artists, and they're getting tools that they want to make the best video possible. Could they make their video on an iPhone? I think they'd be the first people to tell you like, hey, if you want to get started, use whatever you have available. Worry about the gear later when you start making money or something. Like they'd probably be the first people to tell you that. But like they are on another level where they want to try and make the best thing possible. And they're also trying to save time. If they get a better camera that is easier for them to work with, that's saving them time and money, right? These are small purchases when you start getting to that level and you have like a production team behind you. Some of these people also like, I know like some of these like production studios, they might do YouTube. They might be also doing other client work on the side that requires like these higher end cameras that you don't even know about, right? Because they're like a legitimate business. They might have YouTube and that might be main source of income, but they might be shooting commercials too at the same time. You really don't know the position that people are in. So I just thought a lot of his arguments fell flat. Again, like you were saying, I do agree with some of them. Yeah. But, how did you find this guy? Like that's like, randomly.
Yeah. I was looking up YouTubers. I don't even remember why. I somehow I was typing up like tech YouTubers or YouTubers or something, and it came up in search. And I'm like, oh, what's this? And I watched it. And I was just watching it not for content's sake, but just to watch it. And then within the first like 3 minutes, I'm like, okay, I need to make a video about this. So I didn't even watch the rest of it until I recorded the video. So, and I like doing reaction videos and kind of giving my my thoughts on things and whatever. But yeah, I don't have a problem with the guy at all, to be honest. I just thought it was an interesting, he gave his take, I gave my take, and that's it, I guess. I don't know. Put that respect on name.
Yeah, again, nothing against the guy, but it invites it when you start like saying like their job is to sell you something. And I thought you summed it up best. Like, hey man, if you watch my iPhone review and you don't buy an iPhone, I do not care. I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Care. I literally don't care.
Yeah.
Like honestly, sometimes I hope you walk away from the review And if I said things that you're like, this product is not a good choice for me right now, that is me doing my job too. Like it's both ways. You can come out of my review going, AirTags may be cool. I don't need it. Like I said in my own video, like these are cool. Personally, I don't think they're for me though. I really don't lose my eye. Like they work well, but I'm the type of person that keeps pretty good track of their stuff, I think. So I really don't need these. Maybe you're the same way. So I kind of hope sometimes you walk away from my reviews going, yeah, I don't need this product. like even if I'm positive about a product, there's things I say in my review that are like, yeah, you know, it could be a great product for him, but for me, I need a laptop that can hook up to 2 external displays. This MacBook Air, it's not for me. So I think most good reviewers do that. They give you the pros and the cons. Ultimately, if they have a positive or negative experience, there's pros and cons to every product. And then at the end of the video, you need to decide like, I need that or I don't.
And by the way, we want to hear your guys' feedback on that, both by voicemail and email, which I don't know. Did you check email before we started going live?
Yeah, I got a couple emails that we got to get. Yep.
Should we do that right now before we get into the iPad portion?
Well, some of them are iPad specific. So.
Well, let's get into the iPad portion then.
Yes. Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about this iPad. Let's talk about consumerism now. All right. Let's glorify consumerism for a bit. So, Travis, I had a very tough decision. I've had a very tough decision. I ordered 2 iPad Pros. I ordered 2 of them.
Wait, what? What? Wait, what?
Yelled at. Listen, this is where it's coming to. I ordered a 256 gigabyte model, which I think you did, right? 12.
Yes.
And then I ordered the terabyte because for those that don't know,
you want the 16 gig just in case they do Pro. All right.
For those that don't know, the 1 terabyte has 16 gigabytes of memory. I don't need the terabyte of storage. I really don't. Like, it's cool to have that much storage. I don't need that, but it does come with 16 gigabytes of memory. If I could order the 256 with 16, I probably would have done that.
Same.
But I ordered it. I don't know why. I was like so curious. I'm like, I don't know. Like, hey, for the record, I'm going to say this. I don't think anyone should order the 16 gigabyte iPad Pro unless you need 1 terabyte of storage. That's what I keep saying in my videos. Like, I would go into this going like, hey, do I need 1 terabyte of storage? I do. I'm going to order this. If you don't, I don't think you should order it because right now there's a lot of speculation. Travis, you did a video on this, like the iPad might have like a secret. There's a lot of speculation that there's going to be an improvement to the iPad with the software that's coming up in June at WWDC. It's only like a month away. I think that I do think that's going to happen. I don't know. It could never happen. I could buy the 16 gigabyte iPad Pro. iPad OS can look exactly the same. Apple maybe won't even take advantage of the 16 gigabytes of memory. Maybe there's like literally no difference. I have no clue at this point because honestly, when they gave us the last iPad Pros and they gave us 6 gigabytes of memory, I'm like, for an iOS device, that's kind of a lot. When these came out now with 8 gigabytes, I'm like, that seems like a lot of headroom. Now moving to 8, I look at 16 and I'm like, whoa. Like what is there really going to be anything useful here?
Yeah, that's okay. Now, here's the thing. I made that video about this very thing with my suspicions that pro apps are coming. I never said that Mac OS is coming, but I said pro apps might be coming because it doesn't make any sense, right? But here's the thing. You're making me feel bad about myself because if for some reason these pro apps can only work on the 16 gig version, not the 8 gig version, I've essentially wasted my money. Because and I don't want to spend. How much was the 1 terabyte? That's like a ton of money, though. How much is that? No, okay. Well, I'm not doing that anyway, so forget about that. But considering it's my main editing hardware, if there is a Final Cut Pro to go on the iPad, to me that would bridge the gap between the problems I'm having with Final Cut Pro and why I like LumaFusion so much, so that maybe I would spend that money. And I can't believe I made a video about this and didn't think it through. And literally ordered what I normally would order, which is a 256 gig version. If it turns out that you need to have the 16 gig version and they come out with like Final Cut for the iPad, I'm gonna be so upset.
To be fair, I don't think you'll need I don't think they'll be like, hey, you need the 16 gig. I've used M1 machines with 8 gigabytes and done like Final Cut still runs really well, like on an 8 gigabyte machine. I think it'll be fine, right? And especially on iOS, they have so much more control on the RAM. They can close out everything else, let you run Final Cut. But I do think these are options for the future for like these pro apps. I do think there is a Final Cut or Logic or something in the works. I can't see Apple giving us these options without having something more in mind. It doesn't make any sense from the, if this was Samsung and they're like, hey, 16 gig, like I think Samsung's already doing like 16 gigs on their phones. Like, yeah, totally makes sense. Apple, though, they never mentioned RAM. And like, if you're a normal consumer, you never saw memory on an iPad page before. It didn't happen. It didn't exist. Like, it existed, but you didn't see it on the Apple website. They kept that thing secret. You wouldn't know how much RAM was in an iPad until consumers got them and they opened up Geekbench and went, oh, hey, there's 4 gigabytes of RAM in here. The 2018 iPad Pro, which I think still runs really well, has 4 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah.
So even this base level iPad has double that.
Right.
It's like a huge increase, especially when like the 2018 still runs like really, really smoothly for what it needs to do. So I was very conflicted, Travis. I do like having the best of things as a bad consumer person. All right. Rampant consumerism, run amok. Travis,
Well,
I kept both orders, right? I need to cancel. I needed to cancel one of them. One night, randomly, at like 1 a.m, I was in bed, and I just scrolled on my phone on the order page, and I canceled the 256. So I got the 16 gigabyte. There's no turning back now.
Yeah, I mean, listen. At the end of the day, it's probably the right move for you and your channel.
I don't think it is the right move personally, from a personal standpoint. It's the curiosity that got to me. I was like, what? I need to experience this. Is there really any reason to, can I recommend this? Is there something I can find from this going, you know what, 16 for this?
But that's my point. Like literally, because you have that, everything below it, you're already reviewing.
But it's so Travis should have the 16 gigabyte. Because he works all the time in LumaFusion.
Literally.
I don't even know if I'm going to be able to walk away from this and say conclusively, which I guess would be to say, get the 8 gigabyte. I don't know if I can test this. I don't think I can push this iPad to its limits when it comes out. I'm hoping at WWDC, there will be a beta with Final Cut and I can do that. With LumaFusion, though, I've used it a couple times. It's a great editing app, but my main thing is Final Cut. So I really do notice the performance difference there. With LumaFusion, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to tell. So it'll be very interesting. I might have to like contact Travis and be like, we
might got to do a trade and I might got to give him a little money. I don't know. We might got to figure that out. Just as Justine says in the chat, we might got to do a gadget cast. What color did you get? I hope you got silver.
I got silver.
Good. Perfect. That's perfect. That's literally what I got. So maybe that's what ends up happening. A little bit of cash in a trade. Who knows? We'll see what happens here on GadgetCast. So make sure you subscribe.
I don't know what if the mini LED display is good. I don't think I'm going to want to be without my iPad Pro. You know, it's going to be can't.
Listen, I couldn't be without it for any length of time because it's literally my work machine.
No.
So you would have to send yours first to me.
I am getting excited as these products get closer. I got to say, like for the iPad, I like the M1 was exciting, but like as the event happened, I was more shifted towards the iMac. I feel like the farther I'm getting away from this event, the more interested I am in looking at this iPad. I really want to see this display. I think it's going to look really good. So I'm very curious. We do have a question about the iPad, though. We have one question.
Okay.
And I think we can answer this one pretty easily. So this is from 619 WWE fan. He's in the chat. He emailed us and said, so when Apple added the new M1 chips on their laptops, one significant improvement was the battery compared to the previous model. However, the iPad Pro, the battery is still exactly the same as the previous model, even with the M1 chip. Why do you reckon that is?
Space more than anything, right? I mean, I hope that, well, the one thing, and you know, another thing that they always say, but I don't remember them saying it, is every time they come out with like an iPad or something, they always talk about how the battery life, but I don't remember seeing that as a spec on this.
It's still the same 10-hour rating. Yeah.
So if it stays the same, that means that the efficiency between that and the A12X/Y is significant enough that it keeps them the same. They don't need to have a bigger. They can just keep it the same. That's the idea behind it anyway. That's the way it should be.
So it's a good question, 619. I actually saw a couple of this in my comment sections too. You have to remember that the M1 chip is technically still an iPad chip. So while this brought tremendous battery improvements to the Mac lineup, theoretically, this is the same game for the iPad. It's been running on ARM architecture or whatever Apple's version of this architecture is at this point. They got their own little special thing on it. So the iPads were always running, very efficient chips. That's why with the M1, when you put it on a Mac and the Mac's so used to Intel chips that were running at like double, triple the wattage, all of a sudden they have so much extra energy. They have so much extra battery life. With the iPads, it's like, well, this was going to be the A14X anyway. So there's no battery life improvements because, hey, it's the same exact chip that they were expecting anyway.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens when we start doing the actual tests. I'm definitely going to try to test my 2020 versus, of course, the 2021 and try to give some pros and cons and all the things. I'm sure everyone's going to do that. We're going to give our best kind of thought behind whether or not you should purchase this or wait or get one of the 20. I suspect the real answer is you get a really good on deal 2018. And let me be clear. The 2020 iPad Pro and the 2018 Pro, if you decide to even get an iPad Pro, like we could argue get the Air or get the regular baseline. Let's say you're like, I'm getting the Pro. Which one should I get? In my mind, the 2020 and 2018 are the same damn thing. So when I say iPad, I'm just saying get the cheapest version, which will probably be the 2018. It's the same darn thing. That processor with the one extra GPU, I searched in every type of program I could do to get any kind of performance difference. And I think what I said was like 2 seconds in LumaFusion and like nothing else had any difference. So don't pay any difference for any of those. This reminds me of Apple has done this before where they quote upgraded something. There really was no difference, like an iPad or something a long time ago, like one of the base ones. I can't remember what it was. And it's like, no. So the real question is iPad Pro 2018/2020 versus the 2021. Is there a real difference? And we'll find out.
Yeah. I think the question's harder for that 11-inch version. I do think the 12.9 screen is going to be a big enough upgrade to where you're probably, unless you can get like a super good deal on those older ones, I don't know what the price difference will be. But let's say we're like in like a $200 price difference. I'm thinking it's going to be like, hey, 12.9 owners, this new one might be worth it. I really do think that. And I think it's going to, hey, talk about future proofing. Like this M1, man, I think you're going to be good for a long time, even though iPads are good for a long time. We do have 619 in the chat. He had some follow-up. He says, I get what you mean, Greg, but even iPhones that also use ARM-based chips, their batteries increase too, and bigger phone equal bigger battery life, but iPad battery life still stays the same regardless of device size. I would think that's because with the phones and stuff, you can always put a bigger battery in there and the weight will increase. So I don't think it's going to be that much of a difference. But with like an iPad, like they're at like the limits of what I think they want these devices to weigh. Like for that 11-inch, they want to say it weighs 1 pound. And then with that 12.9, I think this new one weighs like 1.5 pounds. And I know they do not want it weighing anything else. So even if they could put a bigger battery in it, that's more weight for the device. And I don't think Apple wants to do that. And then with the 12.9, don't forget that mini LED display could be pretty battery hungry. We really don't know. We have to test these out. That's why we're here.
Well, if you just came in, you would have missed that we actually got pictures from John Prosser, Front Page Tech. We expect them to be on what is upcoming show where we got to see more renders of the upcoming M2 MacBook Air, along with something that is not a render of the MacBook Air.
Not an official photo of maybe a MacBook Air, but we can't share with you.
Yeah, we can't share with you. So make sure you watch, ladies and gentlemen, Front Page Tech, and make sure you subscribe to us. But we're going to have to get going. We do want to do a little bit of an aftercast.
We do have more questions.
Oh, well, go. Hurry up, man. Why do you take so long? Go ahead.
All right. Let's get to these quick.
Okay.
Morris Richmond wants to know, this is another easy one. He wants to know, do you think the Mac Mini will get Touch ID? If so, entire top plate or a little reader? Morris, they're not going to put Touch ID on the Mac Mini, but the new Magic Keyboard with Touch ID works on any of the M1 Macs. They're not selling them separately right now. I think that's a supply constraint because they want to make sure they have enough for the iMacs. I would guess in the next couple of months you'll be able to order that separately, and you can get Touch ID on a Mac Mini with the keyboard. That's how they'll do it. They're not going to actually put it on the Mac Mini. That would be cool, but no, I think it'll be on the keyboard. I think that's easier for people. And then one more from we got a couple more. Hold on. Let's see. We got one from Ben Spag. He says, "Hi, Greg and company." So I guess
what? And company,
Travis. I don't,
bro.
I think this was sent during the show last week.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
We weren't doing email questions that week because they were live questions. I got you. Hi. Okay. I guess I don't even know if I should answer this, but we'll try. Can you all speak about how tech is reviewed? It often seems that the Pro is meant for higher level video editing instead of premium. There are millions of different ways to use a device, such as iPad Pro, as professional and as creative professional as that, artists, writers, musicians, composers, office work, etc. Should there be a reframing on product reviews? Should reviews go deeper into software, such as how pages still cannot sort by list by number alphabetically without creating a table? Best space is big. So,
whoa,
awesome. Yeah, that's actually a comment I get a lot, Travis. I don't know if you get that when you do like reviews.
Nope.
I think I always mention like video editing.
Yeah. The people do ask, well, why do people mention video editing? That's an easy answer, by the way. It's not a complicated answer. So for when you look at like what people actually will use their iPad and stuff for, the only way to stress the processor is either by gaming or something that puts a stress on the processor for an extended period of time. And there's very few things that do that. Gaming would be one, although pretty much games are set. There's not a lot of games on the iPad where you can change all the settings. I think there's a couple. But even Fortnite goes at 120 frames per second on the iPad. So that's kind of crazy enough, right? So beyond that, the only other real way to kind of get a good idea besides benchmarks, which are pretty much pointless, a real use case for the processor and the performance is video editing and exporting. That's why it's used so much, because there really isn't anything else out there that's going to stress a processor enough for a long period of time to give you an idea of the actual performance. Gaming typically does that for GPUs and CPUs on PC. It's just not as much of a deal on mobile, generally speaking.
100%. Yeah, it's listen, there's a lot of different professionals out there. Like my fiance does like art on her iPad, and that's like a totally different use case. There's like lots of layers and stuff like that. That's actually one of the use cases people kept bringing up for the extra RAM, that they actually do run into stuff sometimes where it slows down. And they're thinking maybe the 16 gigabytes, I should have her do a video and maybe she can like stress his iPad out. I don't think I can. But there is so much different work out there. I wish I could cover it all. I know development's another big profession there, where like having a faster CPU, having a bursty CPU versus one that can go longer sustained. There's like all this different stuff. Musicians too, again, a big workflow. Jason from Painfully Honest Tech, he always has like a musician's angle to it, and he would tell you like the new M1 Macs are kind of bad for musicians, not because there's not power there, but because a lot of the stuff you plug into it isn't updated and doesn't work right now on the new M1 chip, so you run into problems there. So there's so much different types of professionals, creative professionals. We can only talk about what we do on it. I think video editing, actually, if you're talking about like a stress test that covers like GPU and CPU, that's a pretty good indication of how well this is going to perform. There's a lot, I will just answer it this way. There's a lot of consumers that get mad that go, how come you talk about this when I'm like writing in Office? Does it run Office well? Does it run well?
Yeah. Guys,
in 2021, like, yeah, if I'm video editing on it, Office is gonna be great. Like you really don't have to worry. It is something I do want to get better at, though. Personally, like if I'm reviewing a MacBook Air, I do need to drive across the point that, hey, it can video edit, but you know what? For consumers, it's gonna handle the basic stuff. Office, you need to bring this on the go. Battery life. I do need to make sure I hit those points too. I want to get better at reframing this from a consumer perspective. Mm-hmm. But I do like to let people know that, hey, if you want to push this machine, go for it. Go for it. You want to save money? You want to get this? You want to push this machine? You're thinking about doing a YouTube channel? hey, MacBook Air, it's great. Go get it.
Yeah. Any other questions
Let's see.
before we get into the aftercast and immediately lose half of our audience for some unknown reason?
They're all gonna stay. I think there's like 250 people, and they're all gonna be here. We're gonna get more people. How about that? All right, one more. This is from 619 again. We'll do it because he's always here. He gets 2 questions. He says, so I have been using AdGuard for a while, but just out of nowhere it stopped working. 619. He says, do you know any ad blockers that also work on YouTube? Also, does VPN work as an ad blocker too, or is it a separate thing? 619, how dare you?
Yes, how dare you?
All my ads 3 times.
Can we explain the ad blocker? I've talked about this on a podcast, on a live stream somewhere. I don't remember where it was. Okay, so here's the thing. If you want to support a creator and you don't have like money to spend, like you want to do that, don't use an ad blocker, because here's what happens. We don't get paid. Now, you might think, well, okay, but that's just me. But there's a lot of people who use this, and I want you to understand that Google has already been paid. The ad has been bought. They're just trying to place it. Once it gets placed, then we get credit for it. So Google has their money, even if you're blocking the ad, we just no longer get that money. So if you want to support us, and by the way, not every single video that you watch will you be, given an ad. So even if the other problem with this is if you turn off ad blocker for just like Greg and my video, the problem is you still might not get served an ad because YouTube looks at how often you're served ads. But we just straight up don't get paid. So you're not like, I understand ads can be annoying, and I get it. I just use YouTube Premium. I use YouTube enough that it makes sense. And if you really want to support us and you don't want to do, or you don't have the money to do something like either premium or even join our membership or whatever, allowing ads to play is one of the best ways you can support us. Aside from sharing our videos, that's probably the best way. So that would be amazing. Yeah.
So 619, you're gonna have to show this video to like 5 people who don't have ad blocker, and then you can use ad blocker. Okay,
Yeah.
Then, you get my blessing. Yeah. Honestly, if I had it, like I agree with Travis, like consumer stuff like that. I also just don't have a recommend. I don't use an ad blocker at all on anything. I know, like, and hey, listen, YouTube, I get it. The ads are bad sometimes, but like there's sites that are worse at this that like are really bad and they like hijack everything. I still don't use an ad blocker because those people on that blog need to get paid too. So I just don't like it personally. If someone has a bunch of ads, I guess I'm in there, but I do use YouTube Premium like Travis. If you can afford it, again, I know, times are tough. Maybe you can't afford YouTube Premium. I get it. But if you can afford it, if you're doing okay, it's actually a really good experience. So I'd recommend that to you. But I don't use an ad blocker, so I can't recommend one. One. But that's it, Travis. That's all the questions for this week.
All right. Well, I want more questions, so email us. Links are in the description below. You can leave us voicemails. Also, if you're listening on the audio podcast, all of that information is in the show notes. And we want to thank all of the people that watch live. It's been a pretty interesting thing. But if you're watching live, we have a little thing called the Aftercast where we'll sit around for a couple minutes and chit chat. Of course, next week we'll be back again to do it all over again.
Hey, I'm calling it out right now. There's 232 people watching right now. I better not see that go to 230. That's 231 by the time. Oh, they 229. What is this? I look you in the eye and someone else just left. Don't you do it. When you leave, I'll get you.
He will, and you don't want him to get you.
Look,
because
I'm all dressed up for Mother's Day. I took my mom out. Maybe I'll take your mom out if you don't stay.
He'll take your mom out. That's terrible.
I take your mom out. How about that? Now you feel threatened, don't you? So you better stay.
You better stay because Greg will take your mom out, which is not good. Definitely not good. Anyway, listen, we really appreciate you watching and listening to the Gadget Cast. Of course, we'll be back next week. I'm Travis. He's Greg. This is the Gadget Cast. Peace. All right, there's the recording.
I came back. Look, we're at 236.
Yeah. So here's what happened, because I think this is the most concurrent viewers for a show that doesn't have a special guest, I believe. And I was looking at the real time, and we got into suggested pretty quick. Like this live stream went into suggested and then it just skyrocketed up. And I was looking at what videos are sending us viewers. And one of them is about a MediaTek 5G modem, which is like, why? I don't understand why people are watching that and then coming to us. And then the second video is a video by Mr. Who's the Boss, which I love Aaron. He's a great guy. So cool. That's why we got so many people watching, because we went into suggested pretty quick, which was nice. I like that. I wish that happened more often.
That's nice. I also think it's because we got a lot of fans from last time, and I think there's a lot of new listeners last time, and they decided to stick around. I think that's probably
we're definitely being suggested to those people who came through and watched it before. Yes. So yeah, definitely. If you're new here, hey, tell us in the chat. Let us know that you're new. This is the Aftercast where we talk to you, and a lot of times we'll just talk about.
Hey, there's a lot of comments about people's moms now. I don't know.
All the mom stuff. Why no iTouch on a Mac Mini? Why would there be one on the Mac Mini? That's what I don't understand. Because a lot of people won't have it
on the keyboard. Why would you need it on the Mac Mini? Some people have my Mac Mini right now. I'm actually on a Mac Mini. It's like far away. I can't get the Touch ID. I gotta like reach over and grab it. So on the keyboard where it's gonna be, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Does Apple Pencil 2 easy fall when shaking the paper? No, it actually holds on pretty good. At least mine does anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I've ever had it like fall off really.
Let's see what else. Brave browser is a good alternative. Ad blockers use Brave rewards for content creators. Oh, that sounds cool. I'll stream you guys on all my devices. Does that count? Thanks, Marcos. We appreciate you, man.
We thought we had high viewership. It was just Marco streaming it on like 100 Apple TVs. Thanks. You gave us false confidence.
Trying to figure out if I should get the iPad Pro as my standalone travel device or the Mac and iPad Air. I game, watch media, do a few engineering things. As your standalone device for standalone travel device or Mac and iPad Air. So he's saying either one altogether or the two. So I use the iPad Pro, but
things that's like, what is that? What is that? Is there like a program you can only get on the Mac? Hey, maybe you should get a Mac. Yeah.
I think I like the Mac and iPad Air combination because it gives you a little bit of everything. Yeah.
I'd say that's a safe bet.
Got another new. Let's see.
Hey, Peter.
Dang, I've been catching the pod recently. 200 in here. Hope you blow up like Doge. Good to see you, Kelvin. It's been a minute. I think I've seen Kelvin before.
Kelvin, we're following the Doge path because last week we had like 600, but then we like dipped back to 200. So.
Do you think the 24-inch iMac has a thermal headroom for the new M1X? Where's Renee when we need him? I feel like Renee.
24-inch? No,
I don't see why not. Why not? Why we don't know what the thermals are for M1X? Like we don't even know. We're assuming. By the way, if the new iMac 24-inch is not getting the M1X. However, the next version of the iMac, if it's going to have the M1X, will have thermal headroom because they're going to if they put it in like. So this question isn't. We can't really answer it because if they want to put it into there, they will make the thermal headroom.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree.
I just gave myself a conniption by doing that. Question for you: what things are you looking forward to in iOS i15? I don't know what kind of things are coming out in iOS 15.
I don't know. There's for software like leaks this year, because I usually do like a software leak video around this time talking about some. I don't know. I heard like iPad home screen redesign. I just think that means widgets, honestly, which they should have added last year. I really don't know what's coming for iOS. They should probably do split screen at this point. I don't really use split screen, but I feel like enough people do at this point that why not add it? Your phones obviously can do it.
Yeah. What did you do for your mom? I called my mom. I'm 3,000 miles away from her, so I can't do a lot of things, but I did call her this morning. What about you?
I took my mom out to eat.
Nice.
Nice restaurant.
Oh, this is actually a good question. So we just hit 3,000 subscribers today. Thank you during the live stream. If we got a silver play button, which one of the two would keep it? We would just order a second one. You can order a second silver play button, which, by the way, I'm going to do for mine when I get my thing pop up.
Do you know you can order like a silver letter? Like the letter they send you.
So I saw great. What's the name? Sucks at Life. Talk about that, but I don't know where you can order it. Can you order it when you do that thing? When you order your thing? Because I will.
There's supposed to be like a drop down thing. It wasn't for me, but there's like when you get the play button, there's like a contact for the creator awards that do it.
Yeah.
I guess you just contact them, be like, hey, can you make this for me?
I'm gonna get it all. I want all of it.
Obviously, but I guess like
I
what are
don't
they
care.
like? They want your money. They're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll make that for you. Why not?
Yes, I will be buying two. I will be buying an extra silver play button and then whatever else I can get. Do you think there's going to be a May event? I don't think so at this point.
Dude, hey, how strict is YouTube on like the million play? But like Society Awards, I think, is the company that makes these awards for you.
Mhm.
Hey, if I just contact them, be like, yo, how much for a gold play button? you think they do it?
Well, Jack Sucks at Life. Just watch his YouTube channel. Almost his entire YouTube channel is about getting different play buttons. You should just go there. I think he got a silver without any videos on a YouTube channel. So I mean, there's different. You should watch his channel. It's really interesting. I bought the 12.9. It's awesome. Like 2 weeks ago. Can't wait to see how the new M1's going to be. Bought the iPad keyboard. Yeah, and notice the no trackpad. Yeah. That's a good little case. One was being targeted for pro workflows. Yeah, of course. Let's see real quick. iPad SE coming. Stay tuned. There's many rumors about a redesigned lock screen. Okay, what else? Hold on. Any idea when we expect to see the 32-inch iMac soon? Hopefully,
maybe next month. I don't know. Could be.
That'd be nice. Oh, look at this. Put some lilacs in the park, combine them with some store white rose. Wow, look at you, Genosis, taking care of your mother. That's awesome. We'll be getting the tag team championship belts for GadgetCast at 100K. Actually, I think we will. Because here's the thing. Look at this. As this bigger part, if you look at the GadgetCast logo, how perfect would that look in the dead center of the belt? That would look so good. I can't even get it on there. Okay, there we go. That would look so good, I think. I think it would look amazing.
I don't have to worry about that, Renee, unfortunately.
Well, not any time in the next 5 years, I don't think, but still. But you never know. We got 3,000 today. That's only 97,000 to go. Touch ID on the iPhone 13. I think we'll see that in some way. I think that's what we're hearing anyway. The new tag team champions. Yeah, I'm wearing Speedos right now.
I'm doing a Goldberg entrance if I get the belt. I'm gonna hire like 5 security guards just to follow me.
How many subs does Greg have? Stop it. He has like 160,000 or something like that. What do you got? Something like that. A whole bunch. He got a whole bunch.
6.
Well, Duke Miami have an intercontinental ECW for graduating you. That's a good idea. I should send him one of the desktop size ones like this. I'll send him one of these. Duke Miami. Oof. We love Duke. Anything else? Let's see. Getting into Greg and his fiancée. Coming soon. Oh, is this the troll account for your fiance? Is that what
No.
Gilbert. Yeah, Speedos. Yeah, we don't want that. Okay. Release an M1 Mac in Space Gray or holding that back for the Pro model. Space Gray was a big thing. People.
Yeah. I think it's for the Pro models. Maybe like the next revision, maybe, but I feel like that's a Pro model. Why not?
AirPods refresh May. I mean, it's got to be soon. They're done, best we can tell. Do you think the Pro level iMac will be a large version of the 24, same look with great? Well, I think we've talked a little bit about this. It's not going to look like a consumer level iMac. It can't, right? There's no way they can get away with that.
Yeah, I think it'll look like the iMac that people wanted it to look like. It'll look like a iPad Pro, more like an iPad Pro on like a stand. It'll look like the Pro Display XDR. I really do think it'll be that. I also think it's going to be more expensive though. I really feel like Apple's going to draw this line in the sand, and I think it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be called iMac Pro. I'm not expecting it to be like $5,000 like the old one was, but like the 27-inch iMac I think started at like $1,799. I really would expect this like 27-inch or 32-inch iMac to be like $2,500. I kind of hope I'm wrong, but I could at least see Apple bumping it up to like $2,000 because we are expecting like mini LEDs in a lot of these Pro products too. And we know the iPad Pro got a price increase. And these are bigger displays, so I feel like that's more money maybe and like less volume, which usually means more money. So I'm predicting higher prices for these Pro products. I hope I'm wrong.
We don't expect Mac OS. We do expect professional level apps. And Renee talked about a possible merger of the OSs, which I think is really interesting. Do we have YouTube wrestling names? I would not tell you mine. Okay, let's see. Just wanted to mention another format profile things on the video. Change in iOS 15 to take advantage of Thunderbolt. I don't know that you even need to change the OS for that. Do you?
No, I think they already said they're gonna have advantages for Thunderbolt. They showed if you go on Apple's website, they got the iPad hooked up to a monitor and a giant dock of connections, and it looks really weird. It's I can connect all these USB accessories to my iPad. What?
I forgot that a lot of people don't understand why we're wearing matching headphones. Not just because these are some of the most amazing headphones for the money, but because they're literally custom made for GadgetCast with the GadgetCast logo. They're actually our custom. There's only 4 in existence. Oh no, 6 in existence. 2 here, 2 were given away to super fans, and we still have 2 more. We'll have to figure out what we're gonna do with that. Real quick, what do you think about Apple Hi-Fi? According to it should be coming along with the higher fidelity music service. Of course, I think that's necessary for what they're trying to do. Not everyone's going to be able to tell the difference, but the people who do are going to love it.
I really hope it's free. I have Apple Music now. I don't want to pay $5 more a month for this. I really hope it's free.
That's generally what happens, though. That's generally what happens.
It is generally what happens, but I feel like Apple doesn't need that extra money. I know they want to grow their services, but
Apple, you don't need that extra money, Apple. Says Greg.
I feel like if you charge the same amount, wouldn't that be a huge competitive advantage and get people to switch over?
To your point, they were the industry pushing 4K, not upcharging they did do that in the digital space. So good point. Really good point. Do you think they need to make a pro version touchscreen I'm not sure what that means. Do you think the U1 chip on Apple Watch will enable AR holograms? That would be fun.
No.
That would be fun though.
It would be fun. I don't know. I don't see it.
Amazing gargles. And the Shockmaster, maybe. Okay. Let's get out of here. Okay, the site said $9.99. I don't know what that's about. Take advantage of 16. All right. No, and that's why, John, we were talking about the fact that it has to be apps, because right now, no. And not even the apps that are on there. No. So it has to be apps. There's no other. I've done a video about this. Nothing else makes sense. So watch my video on it, John, if you have not already, because to be honest, there's nothing else we can think of. Okay, well, it's late now. We've gone really long. There's a lot of people here, and we've been able to keep the vast majority of people, which is awesome. So thank you everybody for joining us.
What should we hold on? We probably should have said it in the podcast. Listen, we did, I think I plugged GadgetCast pretty heavily in my last couple of videos for that super stream. So a lot of people, I think, obviously joined us for that. We like when people join us on YouTube. It's great. Honestly, I think that's the best way to experience GadgetCast. But we do also have the audio show on all the podcast players. So if you ever listen to us on Apple Podcasts or stuff like that, give us a rating there or something like that. We also take voicemails for the show too. So if you asked a question, we didn't get to it. Hey, if you ever have a question, a guaranteed way to get an answer from us is leave a voicemail. It's in the links down below in the YouTube. It's in the links on the show notes. It's really easy to leave a voicemail on Anchor. You don't need to provide a phone number or anything like that. It's just a digital recording. That's the best way. You'll get your question answered, guaranteed, if you leave a voicemail. And I think that's it, right?
Yeah, so, that was pretty good. And a lot of people here. It's funny, the VPN for this video is much higher than any VPN on any video on my channel at all right now. We gained a lot of subscribers today, which is great. During the live stream, we gained 25 subscribers. That's amazing.
What'd you say people are coming from? A modem video?
Yeah, a couple of videos are being suggested to our live stream. I wish
they came from that modem video, and they're this is so boring. They stumbled across GadgetCast, whoa, this is the most entertaining tech podcast I've ever seen. I gotta subscribe.
You need to subscribe.
Because there's a 404 error for the voicemail. What?
Did you click the? I don't know. We clicked the link. We should check it.
We'll
check it after the live stream. We'll see. That might be an Anchor thing, but we'll see. We'll get it work. We'll make sure that at the very least we tell them what's going on. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week. Subscribe if you've not already done so. Leave us a really amazing Apple podcast thing so we can rank up again. And we'll see you next week. Peace and love.
Yeah. Take care, everyone.